It was an unusually quiet evening. The kind of silence that made you hear the ticking of the clock and the faint rustle of leaves against the window. I had just settled onto my worn but comforting couch with a book and a cup of tea when a sudden knock at the door startled me. It was late, too late for anyone to visit casually, and I hesitated for a moment. Who could it possibly be? I put the book down, adjusted my robe, and padded softly to the door. Peering through the peephole, I saw my neighbor, Jack. His tall frame filled the small space of the lens, and even in the dim light of the porch, I could see the tension on his face. He looked troubled, but there was something else too, a hesitation. As if he wasn't entirely sure he should be there. "Jack?" I asked cautiously as I opened the door a crack. "Is everything all right?" His face softened slightly when he saw me. "I'm sorry for bothering you so late," he began, his deep voice a mix of apology and urgency. He ran a hand through his disheveled hair, the kind of gesture that hinted at a storm of emotions beneath the surface. "I needed someone to talk to." I blinked, caught off guard. Jack and I had always been friendly, exchanging pleasantries during the day and occasional favors like watering each other's plants or picking up packages. But this was different. "Come in," I said, stepping aside. "It's cold out there." He hesitated for only a moment before stepping into the warmth of my home. I closed the door behind him, feeling a strange sense of anticipation. Something about the way he carried himself made me realize that whatever brought him here wasn't trivial. Jack sat on the edge of my couch, his elbows resting on his knees, hands clasped together. I sat across from him, the steam from my tea curling lazily in the air between us. "Do you want something to drink?" I offered, unsure how to break the silence. He shook his head. "No, thank you." He paused, taking a deep breath. "I've had a lot on my mind lately, and I didn't know who else to turn to." I tilted my head, waiting for him to continue. There was an earnestness in his voice that made me lean in, as if his words carried a weight he couldn't bear alone. "You've always been kind to me," he said, his gaze meeting mine. "More than most people. And I think that's why I felt I could come to you." I smiled softly, unsure of what to say. His vulnerability was surprising, and yet it made me feel trusted, valued. "Whatever it is, Jack, I'll listen." He hesitated again, his eyes searching mine as if looking for reassurance. Then, slowly, he began to talk. About his loneliness, about the pressures of living up to expectations, and about the moments of joy he'd felt fading away over the years. His voice was steady but tinged with a raw honesty that tugged at something deep inside me. As he spoke, I realized how much I'd underestimated him. Jack wasn't just my neighbor. He was a man carrying his own struggles, his own quiet battles, and I felt a sudden urge to ease his burden, even if only for a little while. "I didn't mean to dump all this on you," he said after a while, his voice softer now. "I just needed someone who wouldn't judge me." "I'm glad you came," I said simply, and I meant it. The hours slipped by as we talked. What started as a one-sided confession became a conversation that flowed like a river, winding through topics both deep and light. We laughed at shared anecdotes and fell silent at the weight of unspoken thoughts. There was a connection forming. One that felt as fragile as it was profound. At some point, I realized the clock had struck midnight. The dim lighting of my living room cast warm shadows, and the air was thick with a newfound intimacy. "I should go," Jack said, though his voice lacked conviction. He stood, but he didn't make a move toward the door. "Jack," I said softly, standing as well. "You don't have to carry everything alone." His eyes met mine, and for a moment, the world seemed to still. There was something unspoken between us, a question, a possibility. He stepped closer, his hand reaching out to brush against mine, and the contact sent a warmth through me that I hadn't felt in years. "Thank you," he said, his voice barely above a whisper, "for being here." And then he left, the door closing softly behind him. I stood there for a long time, my thoughts swirling. That night, something had shifted, not just between Jack and me, but within myself. I had been so caught up in my own routines, my own solitude, that I hadn't realized how much I craved connection. In the days that followed, our conversations continued. Jack and I found excuses to see each other, each interaction